Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Redington virtual sessions. Today's session is from AlgoSec, Managing Firewalls and Compliances. The session is run by Ashraf Mujawar. So, Ashraf, welcome. In case you have any questions during the session, I would request you to please put in your questions in the Q&A box and we will answer your questions. Ashraf, over to you.
I hope you can hear me, Vibindya.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Sorry, I was muting on the other side. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashraf Mujawar. I'm a pre-sales engineer from Redington. Today, I'll be presenting in front of you one of the product called AlgoSec, and we are specifically trying to cover the topic of how you can manage firewalls and the compliances using the AlgoSec as a product. Okay. If you have any specific questions, you can always write down in the Q&A section. And after the presentation is over, I would ready to take the queries from your side. So let's start understanding the AlgoSec and how basically it helps you to managing the compliances. So if you talk about specifically to the AlgoSec, AlgoSec is specifically a policy management solution. So specifically, it try to manage the multiple security policies for the multiple devices, mainly focusing on the firewalls. And of course, in order to give the better visibility, we also integrate with the multiple devices like your routers and switches. We are completely there in the market from longer period of time. We are the primary solution, who's coming into the market and basically presented a technology. If you talk about the customer base, we have more than 1,500 customers in more than 50 countries, I would say. If you talk about the Fortune 50, we are already covering more than 15 of the customers in our list. We are the fastest growing organization, being a leader in the security policy management, as you can see. We have different prestigious awards given by the different prestigious organizations like SC Magazines, Deloitte, Red Herring, and some of the name which you can see in front of the screen. We also integrate, or we also help work together with the different technology partners. You can see the different names, some of the bigger names like a Checkpoint, Palo Alto, Fortinet, BMC Softwares, Blue Coat, Cisco, HP, some of the good names you can see. The list is much bigger, but we try to keep certain names on the slides. Of course, satisfaction guarantee. This is what basically as AlgoSec we try to achieve by providing the best services available from AlgoSec. Let's talk about a couple of challenges which AlgoSec tries to address using by providing its solutions. So basically, we divided the challenges into the 4 categories. One is in the complexity, the communication, the change, and the compliances. Let me try to explain you certain challenges, and then we will try to help you like how AlgoSec can help you to overcome these specific challenges. If you talk about the complexity, of course, we are using a different solution in our organization, different devices. And we all know that there are different teams who manage the different devices, right? So there is an application team who's responsible for managing the specific business critical applications, okay? Their main challenge would be, that they need to have the applications always running. The highly critical application, there shouldn't be any kind of disconnections which can impact the business. We also have a security team who's always worried about, how can I try to, remove the certain complexities in the security rules. We create a different rules, the thousands of rules on our security devices, and it is very difficult to filter it out and try to find out which rules can be, which rules are very important for the organization to run. And of course, same applies to the network team as well. So everybody, talks in a different languages. So when I say they talk in a different languages, everybody's, because the responsibilities are different, their way of understanding and their way of working is different. That is the reason you always see there is a communication gap between all the different kind of teams. So the application team try to communicate in a different language. Their aim is different, the way they wanted to achieve, on the application side is different. The security team always talks in a security languages, and networking team wanted to always see that how they can provide a better connectivity, right? So there is always a communication gap. There is always a terminology gaps which we can see between these specific applications. It happens sometimes when you try to make a specific network changes. You try to request for a certain change, and because it has to go from all those different departments, different teams, and they have a communication gaps. The change to apply or change to make sure the change is getting completed will take longer time than the expected one. That is the reason the change is also a very big challenge. When you try to make any changes in the current infrastructure, it's going to take a big time, because every team have a different way of understanding and working, right? And of course, the most important part is when you want to achieve the compliances, when the auditor comes back and tell you, can you tell me whether the security policies you are configured, is it something according to the certain regulatory compliances or not, like a PCI DSS, Cerberus Oxley Acts? Is it matching those kind of compliances? And this becomes a big challenge for any organizations, because they have to go through each and every policies, understand what is this basically the compliances talks about, and try to comply to that specific things. So there are multiple challenges every security or organization is trying to achieve it, right? With the help of our AlgoSec, we try to overcome all those challenges by providing you the AlgoSec security management suite. Okay, so AlgoSec deliver a complete integrated solution for managing the complex network security policies. It from the business application layer to the infrastructure, and we provide a complete visibility in the different platforms like a virtual cloud or physical environments. It basically helps you to even achieve the compliances by analyzing, by automating the task which is getting executed on that. As a suite, we have 3 different modules. As an AlgoSec, we provide one of the primary modules, or we can say a brain of a solution, or basically the solution which basically helps you to achieve the most of the part is the firewall analyzer, right? So the first solution is the AlgoSec firewall analyzer. Another module which we have is a FireFlow. And the third module, which specifically used by the application teams, is called Business Flow. So specifically 3 modules we have, and we are going to talk about our AlgoSec Analyzer, because this is something important module for the organization which we need to understand more. And of course, we can try to understand get a little bit understanding on the other products as well. So what are the unique points or the specific points which we try to cover from the AlgoSec is? So AlgoSec management suite is. So we basically helps to process the firewall changes. As I specifically mentioned, we manage the firewall security policies specifically for the firewalls and of course the routers and switches. So what exactly we help you with is process the firewall changes 4 times passwords, and also try to eliminate any kind of misconfigurations basically happening on that specific network, right? We helps you to we always do the certain kind of risk assessment while processing those changes, which really help you to ensuring the best security, and also the continuous compliance checks will be done, which really helps you to make sure that when you make any changes, you will not be breaking any kind of compliance laws, right? We also try to overcome that challenge of the communication gap, because when a networking and application team and security team is going to use a single solution to process the changes, and they will have a full visibility without even communicating to each other on literally or from a phone or something from the emails. One solution, with the help of one solution, we can completely streamline that communication. So when a specific team is trying to make any changes, it goes from all the different teams, and they understand the risk against it, and then basically those things will be processed successfully. We deliver the tighter security policy, okay, which definitely help you to protect against a different kind of cyber attacks. So let's understand a specific product. If you talk about a firewall analyzer, the firewall analyzer is basically, as I mentioned, it's something which is going to directly communicating or directly analyzing all my different firewalls and different routers and different solutions, which we'll talk about it. So basically, it connects to my security infrastructure, and what it does, as its name explains, right? It analyzes it. Okay, it analyzes it, and once we analyze the entire device, what it does it automates and streamlines the specific firewall operations. Okay, it also ensures that whatever the policies has been configured on those devices, we should be able to optimize it, and we make sure that the security will also be maintained against it. And if you see, when the auditor comes and basically asks you that I need to do a certain analyzation of your entire network, and I also need to prepare a specific compliance list, basically is talking about doing the auditing of your network devices, you are going to take so many hours or the weeks, to do a complete entire auditing of all the devices, because you need to match all the criteria defined in that specific compliance list, right? So with the help of a firewall analyzer, we will be able to achieve that specific thing in less than hours. Now understand, now we have analyzed the entire network, right? Now we know what are the policies are configured and everything. Now the most important part, for which basically help us to improve the communication gap between all the teams which you're talking about, is how you can process the changes. For example, a network team came back with a specific request, or specific user come back with a specific request of accessing a certain application, right? We need to provide a easier way for users so that they can use predefined templates, where they can just request for access, and the process that as soon as he raise a ticket, or you can raise a request, all the teams should automatically get notified, and they should immediately start working over to it. They don't need to do a lot of risk assessment, because the solution is doing by itself. Because of which what exactly happens is we are able to process the changes 4 times faster, right? We of course improve the accuracy and accountability, because everybody have a visibility of what is exactly happening. Everybody is approving the task which has been given to it, so we know that this person has approved this task before it going to the going to the other department, or before the user gets access to that specific applications. And of course, with the help of everything, the most important part, we are not breaking any compliance or security rules. We are still maintaining the compliance as such. Okay, so these two solutions are work hand in hand. The analyzer and the FireFlow, they both are depending upon each other. So firewall analyzer analyzes the entire network, and then FireFlow basically takes the data, or basically gives the commands to the analyzer, just to process the changes, right? So again, a very important module, which we are talking about, is the business flow. With the name, you can understand is something which helps you to maintain the business flow. And that, the business, the applications, which is the critical applications running in organizations, if that application goes down, that is going to make a bigger impact in a business, right? So if you wanted to make sure that your business growth continuous happen, you have to make sure that those applications are continuously running, and there shouldn't be any kind of the gap during the application access, right? So what we do, how do we achieve that? With the help of our AlgoSec business flow, which basically helps you to securely provision, maintain, and decommission the connectivity of a business applications. It also helps you to automatically map the application connectivity requirements, and it also helps you, to identify or basically accelerate the application deliveries, minimizes the outages, and basically with all these things, we were also able to maintain the security as well, along with the compliances. So the application connectivity being a very critical part for the organization, we should be able to give the complete visibility of it. We should be able to provision, deprovision the applications with the help of a business flow. So let's take an example. Let's say tomorrow any application goes down, which is basically going, the access is going from a different, different network devices. It becomes a very difficult to find out where the communication gap is, where this application has been broken. With the help of the business flow, you will be able to create a map of the application from source to the destination. And as soon as any connectivity goes down, you should be able to see there is a red kind of arrows, which basically tells that there is a broken connectivity. And instead of you trying to do the trace route, where exactly the communication gap is, you will directly go and find out that this is between this device and this device, there is a communication gap happened. There may be a possibility that somebody make some network changes in the past, which basically breaks down this connectivity. So you can go and check even the FireFlow and understand that what are the changes has been made in the past, and then you can understand, okay, because of this change, this application goes down. So you can easily take the actions against it. So this is what the business flow is going to give the full visibility and help the application team to react faster and the networking security team to react faster. So let's talk about more in detail about the firewall analyzer. Since by the time the firewall analyzer is a very important tool, because even my business flow is depending on the firewall analyzer. So what exactly the firewall analyzer is basically going to do? It helps you to centrally manage, and troubleshoot all the network security policies configured on a different devices. So we help you, or we deliver the visibility and analysis of the complex network security policies across different platforms. Whether you have a physical, you have a solution hosted on the virtual, or something is there on the cloud, we can easily integrate with them. What exactly we do apart from that? We also automate and simplifies the operations. For example, whenever we add a specific appliance, specific device to the file analyzer, once we do the analyzation, we will be able to tell you like what are the security policies posture look like, okay, how quickly you can do the troubleshooting, how easy to do we can do the auditing, and how with the help of a risk analysis we'll be able to get a complete visibility of where is the risk resides. With the help of a firewall, with the help of a AlgoSec firewall analyzer, we should also be able to help you to optimize the rules. So when you have the firewalls, when you have a routers, you must be configuring so many rules, right? So how you can make sure that you will be able to provide a better visibility or better security. You can basically apply the certain algorithms which analyzer has, certain kind of patented technology which analyzer has, which helps you to identify what are the risky rules and how we can remove those risky rules. So it basically helps you to do a lot of policy optimization. So some of the benefits, if you talk about from AlgoSec Firewall Analyzer, is instantly visualize your network security policy. Okay, so you can add multiple devices and you can do it. We support a larger and the complex enterprise networks. So you can integrate with multiple solutions across different platforms, and basically gives you the different visibility of it. Will help you to clean up and optimize the firewall rule sets. So if you have specific rules, let's say sometimes it is a practice that it happens with some customers, they completely depend on the default rules, and the default rules basically they try to allow a default rules, and there are a lot of traffic is basically going on from that specific rule, and there is a chances that this this rule has been created for the specific reason, but because you do not have a visibility, the rule is basically open where the source to the destination is defined as the entire network, but a specific IP only accessing specific resources on the destination site. So this kind of visibility you will never get it. By analyzing the firewall, by analyzing the IP tuner rules from AlgoSec, you should be able to get this visibility that there is only a specific IP normally access to this specific resources on the second side. So what you can do a tightening of rules. You can instead of having the full subnets on the source side, you can have the single IP address, which basically, of course, cut down a certain security gaps in place. You can, if auditing comes up, you don't have to wait for a month, or for a weeks, to doing the complete reports, preparing all the reports. In the solution, you can just run a report and give it to auditing team, and your auditing team have a complete audit reports with you. Of course, we can also run a certain kind of baseline configuration compliance check, which will also help you to manage a certain risk should not be allowed on a specific devices. These are some common benefits we provide from the AlgoSec Firewall Analyzer. If you talk about the specification perspective, we integrate with the multiple devices. So you can see some of the big names in front of the screen. Like we support a multiple platforms like a Checkpoint, Cisco, Juniper, Fortinet, McAfee, F5, Juniper, Linux, and of course certain other solution from the ticketing perspective. Since the FireFlow is a kind of like a ticketing system, which is giving to the users to do the performing the change management part of it. So we can also integrate with your BMC, HP, and CA ticketing management systems. So this is a list what we support from AlgoSec, and does not stop here. There is a more devices we have it. We do support from AlgoSec perspective, which you can always, as per your request, whenever you have a specific requirement, you can always check with us, and we can give this information. So let's understand how exactly it's going to work. From the AlgoSec, as such, it's this specific solution is designed in a different behavior. The device is completely sits in a passive mode. Okay, so you don't need to have them in a specific between your firewalls on your internal network, where it becomes a single point of failure, right? It sits in a passive environment. In case of appliance also goes down, there is no impact as such in your existing network, right? So it sits in a specific passive environment, and basically it's try to communicate to all your devices, as you have mentioned on top, and then basically it analyzes it, and then basically gives you the visibility analysis of that specific specific devices. So we are completely non-intrusive. Okay, we do not keep in line. Okay, so there is no need of worrying about single point of failure. We also integrate with the multiple networking devices like routers and switches, where we try to with the help of this routers and switches, we are able to provide you the better network topology. Because we basically try to read the routing table information, from those routers and specific layer 3 switches, and then basically we prepare a map, we prepare a topology, and we understand it which device is connected to where. So in case of any issues happen, we can always quickly trace it, where exactly the issue, and we can always take a preventive measures against it. So we can have the we can from the grouping perspective, you can group the multiple devices in order to get the better visibility, or you can keep a single devices. That's a configuration perspective you're talking about. We have a patented algorithms where we will be able to analyze all traffic violations or the variations which is happening. We also do the real-time change monitoring. So if there are any changes which is happening on the specific devices, you will be able to see those changes. And of course, we will also help you with achieving the compliances. Our AlgoSec is completely an enterprise-grade solution. So you can keep the appliances in a different geographical locations and manage it from a single management console. And then you get the better visibility from the central management perspective. You can also configure in a load sharing, where you can have the clustering mechanism, where you have one master and another devices will be becoming a slave. So the master will be sharing the configuration to all the slave devices, but all will be running in active scenarios. We also configure, we also have the devices which can run it as an active and a standby if a customer have a specific requirement, like you have a DC and the DR scenarios. I need to keep one device in the data center and another device in the disaster recovery, we should be able to provide that appliances as well. So this kind of different kind of deployment scenarios which we can do. And if you talk about the module, okay, or the models of the devices, so we do support a different kind of deployment options. One is the appliance base, where it's a simple appliances. You can just mount the appliance, and then you will have the you can configure the devices in a specific tap mode or a span mode in order to read all the entire traffic coming from that specific devices. Of course, we can configure our appliances in a different modes. That is what we have discussed. Different models we have, which is 2062 to 2162 and 2322. And this is basically depend upon how many devices you want to onboard it. So the kind of customers, we have around 60 devices to basically manage it. We can always go with the appliance base. Otherwise, we also provide you the virtual appliances. If you do not have a much requirement of a hard drive, or you're completely virtualized, you can always go and perform the virtualized appliance configurations. It's a very easy, and it's a simple installation. You just have to plug, you just import the appliances and start configuring and adding the devices. As simple as that. And of course, if you want to have your own operating systems and you need to manage that specific hardening and the specific device, you need to have your own software. You can always procure the software from our side, and it can be installed on the Linux servers in order to give you the better visibility and hardening capabilities of it. Okay, so this is something about AlgoSec. If you have any specific questions, I'm ready to take it. I wanted to keep it small and simple, since this is an introduction session of the AlgoSec. But if you need to understand more in detail about specific features, because there are a lot of things which we can cover, but because of a limited time, we are trying to give you the basic introduction. And of course, when you have a requirement, when you customer have a requirement, you can always come back to us, and we can always help you to give you the better understanding of each and every technology. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take it. Any other questions, guys?
There are no more questions, and thanks, Mohit, and hope both of you have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, Mohit. Thank you, Bindya. Thank you, guys.